episode of Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Erick Coughlin, and today we're going to be talking. The thought tracker is going to be locked down on Chicago sports, period. So we're going to go in an in-depth coverage of the Chicago Bulls, as always, is what we always do, it seems like, but that's what we're going to do. And then we're also going to spill out a little bit about the Chicago Bears as well, because we are literally a week away. Next Saturday is first preseason game for the Chicago Bears. The very first game of the year has already kicked off. That was last Thursday night. So if you didn't know that, you know that now. You might have already missed out on some football action. It was the Jets versus the Browns. And so this week, starting as of Thursday night will be premier Thursday night football. And then, so Friday we'll have games, Saturday we'll have games, Sunday we'll have games. Maybe even Monday they might premiere a Monday night football. And then, you know, break it down. We're a month away from full time, full fledged NFL season. But we're literally a week away from preseason. So how you doing? That being said, let's get started. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take an in-depth look. We're gonna break down completely what happened with Chicago Bulls during this offseason. They came into this offseason knowing that they had to do some things, and then wanting to do some things. So main agenda was to save the team, right? They have already been committed to this team for like the last 3 seasons, and they want to stay committed because it's on the outside looking in. We look like trash, but really, before we lost Lonzo a couple of years ago, we were floating at the first, second, and third spot of the East. And then Lonzo gets hurt, and then we get demolished in the playoffs. And then the following year, we didn't look too good, which was year before last. We missed the playoffs, and then last year we bounced back year three, and we made the play-in spot. Just it didn't really look well. Year three was supposed to be, a big thing, and it wasn't. The second year was a big disappointment. They talked about blowing up, but we didn't. So they came into this knowing we had Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic, Javante Green, Derrick Jones Jr., Andre Drummond. Patrick Beverly. We came into the offseason knowing that we had like 9 guys that were going to become free agents. Maybe 8. I might be overstepping one. It might have been 8 guys that are coming into free agency. And of those 8 guys, 3 of them were premier players, and we knew that we had to keep them. So that's what we did. We kept Nikola Vucevic, thank God. Decided and elected to keep Kobe White, and also have kept around Ayo Dosunmu, thank God. So our core, that's the core of our team. So when you look at who the Chicago Bulls are and who they want to be for the last 2 or 3 seasons, we are Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Nikola Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan. Um, you'll see it starting to develop a lot more next year. This season coming up this year, not next year, this year. We're just literally October. We're just like 2 or 3 months away, and then it's a basketball season all over again. So it'll be this year. But Alex Caruso will be a focal point. We now know that Andre Drummond has to have a lot more attention and help to the team. And we got lucky, by the way. Andre Drummond and Derrick Jones Jr. both signed their player options and came and played for cheap, thinking that they're going to get guaranteed spots. Andre Drummond will. Derrick Jones Jr. probably won't. Probably be a trade asset, but I mean that's just me thinking. We'll get into that a little bit later of how we could possibly reshape the team with what we got. And like I said, that's a little bit later. So as of right now, that's basically who we are. Patrick Williams is included in that. So we got about 8 guys that we know that ain't gonna go nowhere. And then we found a couple of guys. So that means Javante Green was out the door, right? We didn't keep Javante Green. We didn't keep Patrick Beverly. We didn't keep Terry Taylor. Um, we didn't even keep Marko Simonovic. We let him go. He's actually playing EuroLeague ball now. He went to go play for his homeland, so that's cool for him. At least he's playing professional ball. I liked him. I wanted us to use him. But what we want as fans and what we get as fans are 2 total different things. If that's the case, if we all got what we wanted, then the Bulls win the championship every year, and then it would just. I'm sorry, but if you're not a Bulls fan, you wouldn't be able to enjoy basketball if we all got what we wanted, because that's exactly what I would want. Just saying. All right. That being said, so um, what we did was, like I said, we lost Javante Green, lost Patrick Beverly, lost Simonovich, lost Jerry Taylor, but we picked up. So we picked up Javon Carter, who, interesting enough, he's from Chicago, went to high school in Chicago, kind of grew up. Excuse me one second. Kind of grew up always wanted to be a Bull, right? So like when you grow up in Chicago and you're old enough to know who Michael Jordan is, and that's where you're from, you're always going to want to be a Bull. I don't know of anybody that plays basketball in that city that doesn't want to play for the city. So that being said, it's cool that he gets to do that. And the likelihood is he's going to bring a lot of energy and a lot of fans, and he'll make a lot of noise defensively. We'll get into that, and then we also picked up Torrey Craig, right? Right. So this essentially is what it presents to me. I go to Sumo signed 3 years, 33 million. So we're paying him 11 million a year, and what's going to be his fourth year in the team. And we drafted this guy 4 years ago, expecting him to be our number one guy. So guess what that means? That means that he's finally going to get what he wants, and we're praying and hoping that we get what we want. So the starting five this year, in my opinion. Now again, I am Eric Coughlin. I am a Chicago Bulls diehard fan, and this is my show, Just My Thoughts. So this is how I think and how I feel and how I would run my team if I were Billy Donovan, not Erick Coughlin. So it would be Kobe White, my starting point guard, right? Then it'd be Zach LaVine, shooting guard. Then it'd be DeMar DeRozan, small forward. Then it would be rightfully so and rightfully earned Patrick Williams back in the starting position for the power forward. And then Nikola Vucevic as my starting center, my starting five. So the pretty much only thing that changes is instead of us going with Patrick Beverly, which is what happened after All-Star break, we would be opening and playing all year and finishing the season with Kobe White, assuming he plays good, doesn't stays healthy, doesn't get hurt. I think he finally gets that opportunity to be our guy. We've been waiting for him to be our guy for a long time. Last year, coming off the bench, he did pretty well. He's always struggled as a starter, but the last couple of years, he's been putting in a lot of work, and we're putting in a lot of faith. Like I said, you don't pay a guy $11 million and think he's coming off the bench, do you? If you think that, you're probably thinking wrong. So that would be our starting point guard all year this year. Thank God, Kobe White, how you doing? Which is good because he's reliable, he's fast, he can shoot the three ball, pretty good. He can attack very well. He's very fast. He doesn't mind playing defense. All in all, Kobe White deserves to be our starter, so that's going to happen. Coming off the bench for the next five, which ironically will probably end up being like four. There might be a guy that might not get to play a whole lot, but again, if I were Billy Donovan, I'd just play all 10 guys. I'd make rotation, and I'd make time for all 10 of them to be a squad. So bench point guard coming off the bench, not as a six-man, just my bench point guard. That would be Javon Carter. Then my six-man would be Alex Caruso playing shooting guard. And then Ayo Dosunmu, I would make the transition because of his length, because of his speed, because of his size. Ayo Dosunmu would be my small forward coming off the bench. He would be my number three coming off the bench. And my number four would be Torrey Craig coming off, the guy that we just signed 2 years, $8 million. That sounds like ridiculously low amount of money, but it also sounds like if he plays very, very well and does very, very good, whenever DeMar DeRozan's ready to retire, he'll be the one taking DeMar DeRozan's spot and getting paid pretty well. Like I said, that's future to come, but that's what I see. And then, of course, Andre Drummond. So the big question is how much did we improve? And I did that. I did some homework. I did some research, and we're going to elaborate a little bit about that. But let me tell you a little bit about what we've done that I haven't discussed yet. So there's a thing called two-way players, right? Right. So on our two-way players list, we got Adama Sanogo. We got Justin Lewis, who was a two-way player for us last year. And then we also picked up European point guard Unlap Bidem, Bitim Bidem. And his first name is really like Urlap, Unorlap, Ernlap Bidem. So this guy is he's a point guard overseas, but he's almost the same size and length and width as one Ayo Dosunmu, and he's just like an inch shorter than one Lonzo Ball. Actually, he's 3 or 4 pounds heavier than Lonzo, but Lonzo's an inch taller. So I'm not saying that he's as good as Lonzo Ball or Ayo Dosunmu. I'm saying that he picks up that body size as Ayo and as Lonzo. So that's very, very interesting. I love players from overseas. You know, if you know your history, you know Tony Kukoc come from overseas. You know Dirk Nowitzki come from overseas. You know that Paul Gasol come from overseas. If you do your history in the NBA, a lot of great, amazing players come from over there. So I'm not saying that he's one of them. I'm saying he has the opportunity to show us that he is one because we don't know. We don't watch European ball all year long. You know, we could have got a stud or we could have got a bust. I think we got a stud. I've watched this guy play. I've been doing research on this guy. I've been watching him play. He almost kind of like Kyle Korver, man. To me, he's a Kyle Korver kind of player, which is why even though he plays point guard over there, I don't think he would over here. Over here, I think he'd be a wing. He'd be perfect for transition steals, hit the open three. That's the kind of guy that he is. That's why I would put him at the wing position. So the two-way players essentially they will dress professionally with us, and they also pretty much are our premier players for our G League, the Windy City Bulls, which will also be talented with Julian Phillips, which is the rookie we signed 4-year deal to, which is unheard of. A lot of rookies don't get 4-year deals, but our rookie did, so we see something in him, and I'm proud of that. So he'll be part of the Windy City Bulls for his first year as a Chicago Bull, and then also Dallin Terry, our rookie from last year, will also be part of the Windy City Bulls. So the Windy City Bulls G League roster sits at Bynum, Dallin Terry, Justin Lewis, Julian Phillips, and Adama Sanago, with about two or three other guys that come from summer league are going to come over and play for us, like Henry Drill. He'll play and dress and be on the team. Probably be a six-man on that team. Henry Drill might actually get some playing time. He did really well in the summer league. Almost your whole summer league roster will transition over. I say almost like four of those guys plus the five that you're going to dress. Like usually nine guys. They usually go nine deep in the summer league. It's about what they get. And so that pretty much wraps up what we've done. And but by the way, so the two-way guys, Bynum and Sonago, will probably dress professionally. So we got 13 guys that are signed to professional roster. That is Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, Javon Carter, Zach LaVine, Alex Caruso, Derrick Jones Jr., DeMar DeRozan, Torrey Craig, Julian Phillips, Patrick Williams, Dallin Terry, Nikola Vucevic, and Andre Drummond. Which leaves space for two more guys, which will end up being Sonago and Bidum or Bidum. I really think it's Bidum. I think because I just how I feel like it should be. So I'm saying that it's Bidum, Bitim. You tell me what you call it. That's what I'm calling it. And that would be the 15 dressing for us, which means even though we got about 6 million in salary cap right now, which means we did not go over, which means that next year when we go enter free agency, we will enter at league minimum, which is I think it's like 90 million. Every team gets like 90 million cleared every year unless you're overtaxed. So we'll be sitting right around just at close to 100,000 or 100 million next year with Patrick Williams becoming a free agent, with DeMar DeRozan becoming a free agent, with Alex Caruso becoming a free agent. Again, Andre Drummond and again Derrick Jones Jr. The difference is they will be unrestricted free agents, which means we won't be able to do business with them until everyone else does business with them, unless we do it during the season. Like while they're on our team, before deadline, we can extend these guys. Which, since we don't have the money, that means we're not going to. Just keeping that a heads up and keeping you guys fresh on what's going on. So that being said, where do I see us? I see us as a big improvement, and these are the reasons why. This is what I was talking about. We're going to get into. We're getting into them right now. So Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr. They shared minutes. If you guys can remember, Javonte Green was kind of our bench power forward, our bench small forward, kind of whatever we asked him to do, he would do for literally the first month of basketball, about 28 to 32 games. He kind of did whatever we asked him to, and then he messed around and broke his ankle, and he missed like 8 weeks. And then when he finally got healthy, the season was practically over, and we were battling to make the playoffs. So he didn't even get back into rotation. So that's one of the guys that we did not re-sign, but this is what he's done. This is what Javonte Green did for us last year. Played 32 games. He scored 165 points. He had 88 rebounds, 23 assists, 21 blocks, 24 steals. So he played pretty well defense, and he got pretty well, in the lane. Was a good cutter, could get rebounds. Javonte Green was pretty good, but he got hurt and slowed us down a little bit. And then, like I said, Derrick Jones Jr. was there for the times that, Javonte Green wasn't. This is what he'd done. 319 points, 153 rebounds, 34 assists, 37 blocks, 29 steals, and he played 64 games. So this is why I think both, first of all, Javonte Green didn't get re-signed, so he's not even on the team. So bye-bye Green, and bye-bye Derrick Jones Jr. Even though Derrick Jones Jr. is on the team, I think he's going to be an injured reserve player. I think the only way he gets minutes is if somebody goes down. And these are the reasons why. So Torrey Craig, he played 79 games last year. That's very, very impressive. Had 588 points, 426 rebounds, 117 assists, 62 blocks, and 50 steals. So by himself is better than Javonte Green and Derrick Jones Jr.'s numbers by himself. That's Torrey Craig, come from Phoenix. How you doing? So I definitely think Derrick Jones Jr. lost minutes because of that. Now let's talk about Javon Carter. Played 81 games. That's incredible. Again, both of these guys played all year long, which is what we have to have. We have to find guys that stay healthy, get healthy, don't get hurt, because that's what happened to us last year. Even though we looked like trash, the truth is we were fighting our roster and fighting spots because everyone kept on getting hurt. We had a lot of injuries to deal with last year. So Javonte Carter had 651 points, 202 rebounds as a point guard, 197 assists, 29 blocks, and 60 steals. So both of these guys play some serious defense. Both of these guys are an advancement in blocks, and an advancement in points, and an advancement in steals. So everything it takes to win, these guys win are winning players compared to Derrick Jones Jr., which is what we were looking at, and also Javonte Green, which is what we did have last year. So we upgraded. And I've already said this, and I'll say this 100 times as a Bulls fan. When it comes to my big three, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, and DeMar DeRozan, I will take my big three over all big threes in the NBA. I'm not scared of any of them because of those three guys. My weakness is not really having talent once those guys come off the court. We fixed that by this offseason by first of all finding both of these guys are studs, and both of them are coming and playing for cheap money. They both signed really good deals for a low amount of money, and they can both play their asses off. So with the improvement of the bench, now no longer having to worry about our big three coming off and getting smoked. The question is when our bench comes in with a lead, who's going to be strong enough to take it from us? Not too many people, especially if Andre Drummond plays, 70, even if he gets 68 games, 76 games, if Andre Drummond plays all year long, that helps us. A lot of people don't understand this. He really only played about 46 games last year, and they were pretty much all at the end of the season. So when the season first started out, we had so many things going on. Giving minutes to Goran Dragic, giving minutes to Javonte Green, to Derrick Jones Jr., to Derrick Jones Jr., to a lot of several different guys. So Andre was like fighting and competing to get on the court for a very long time. And if Javonte Green didn't suffer an injury, Andre might have never even got the chance to play. And that's the truth about that. And then you take in consideration too, so when we have great games, this allows our younger guys that are in the IR playing to get playing time and to at least gain league value for packaging, right? So I told you I was going to talk about this. That's now I'm talking about. So we are in a situation where, because Julian Phillips, I watched Summer League, I watched this all Summer League long. I watched all 4 games, and listen, they call him Scary Terry. Dallin Terry did not impress me at all. I thought Julian Phillips was just as good as Dallin Terry, and Julian Phillips just got drafted this year. So if Dallin Terry can get experience in the G League, and we throw him in there, on a Friday, Saturday night when we're up 20 and it doesn't matter, the league don't matter, score don't matter. Get him in there, get him 4 or 5, 6 minutes, let him try to get some experience in. You could take Dallin Terry, and then you could take Derrick Jones Jr., and then you could take like future draft picks, and you can try to simulate, or not simulate, but get value enough to find a guy that we may or may not need. See, Andre Drummond, like I said, is going to become a free agent this year, an unrestricted free agent, which means we can't do business with him until his business is said. So we need like a power forward type center type. We need that stretch five, guy that we used to have in Lauren Marketing. So we have to find that Lauren Marketing type guy. And the only way you might even be able to do that is if you've got value. Derrick Jones Jr. has won the dunk contest twice in the NBA. No one even talks about it. He shoots a very reliable a very average league average 38.6 percent from the three. Almost everybody does that, so it's not like anybody's out shooting him. He's shooting with everybody else. He can dunk over everybody. He's already proven that. Derrick has kind of got some value. If Dallin Terry can add to that value, and then you got young draft picks coming up, like say something bad happens to us, so those become unprotected, draft picks, and so it might be the draft class of LeBron James's kid, and everybody wants those picks. You see what I'm saying? So that I think we're destined to almost be a dark horse in the East. Now, I know Boston's really, really good. I understand that. And I know Miami's really, really good, and I understand that. But I think the Chicago Bulls are really, really good. And I don't think no one understands that. I don't think that people realize that Zach LaVine was coming back from an injury last year. So it took him about 36 games to really recuperate and really start playing without any problems. And then once that happened, his numbers shot through the roof. So a lot of people don't realize that. But that injury is gone now. And here's another thing too. So like after the All Star break, when we realized that we have to win games, we started winning games, and we are in a better situation now. I'm going to tell you this: Patrick Beverly can never beat Kobe White 1-on-1. So that is a upgrade. So no longer have to worry about what Patrick Beverly is going to do. That's good. We no longer have to worry about playing guys that might not produce like Javante Green. That's completely out the door. That's good. We don't have to make Alex Caruso a power forward. That is genius. Let me tell you something. His best games last year were games where he got to actually play shooting guard, which is what he's actually supposed to be, and not power forward. So a lot of people think, well, why do you like Alex so much? I like him so much because he has a special ability to make people disappear. He is the best defensive guy I think I may have ever seen in my life, besides Michael Jordan. He's up there, dude. He like I said, he played power forward all year last year. He played 68 games as a power forward, and the man is 6'5", 223-pound shooting guard. And we listed him as a power forward and made him play power forward all year last year. And I'll tell you, I don't think he ever got whipped one time. And I'll tell you this, I don't think there's many people in the league that are ever going to whip him. They're just not. They might beat him, but they're not going to whip him. The dude can shoot the three ball. The dude can run and dunk. The dude can play better defense than anybody else in the league. I mean, really, odds are he deserves to be competing with like defensive player of the year, and I think that he'll get to do that this year. Now that we get to free up some space, now that we've got guys to play that position, so he can actually play what he's supposed to play, I think that changes the team a lot. I think staying the same changes the team a lot. That doesn't make sense when you're saying it, but it makes sense if you're thinking about it, right? So by committing to your team, you're showing that you have confidence in your team. When you have confidence in people, that makes them feel better about themselves. When they feel better about themselves, they can produce well on the court. So you're telling them, I have faith in you to go out here and win the game. Odds are now it's their turn to win those games, and I think it's going to happen. I really think we're competing for the top three spots of the East. I'm not really afraid of Boston or Miami because first of all, Miami hasn't fixed their problem truthfully yet. And I'm not going to talk too much about that, but we are here in a second. Here's why Miami really couldn't beat Chicago when it comes down to it next year. I know they did last year, but last year we're not talking about that. We're talking about this year. So they hurt themselves by letting go of Max Struess and by Gabe Vincent because they haven't really done anything to replace that. So they're either going to be relying on again Kyle Lowry and Tyler Hero, who got hurt last year. And that's a big story. You know, Hero is a good guy. He's a good player. But if he doesn't hold up, they took big steps in the wrong direction. Um, if he can't hold up. Another thing is I don't think they stretched the floor half as well. Now they're going to be put in a situation where they have to figure out outside of Jimmy Butler and outside of Caleb Martin who's really going to play the wing because they both can't play the wing and they both can't play power forward. They both do so, but if they're going to start together, one's got to take one position and the other's got to take another, right? So they're battling themselves as to what to do on the wing. And that actually, a lot of people weren't paying attention to that, but that was a thing all year last year. A lot of people don't know, even though we're talking about the Miami Heat, they almost didn't even make playoffs until they had to figure some stuff out. So, and I think that's going to be another problem too because they didn't fix a need at the center. They grabbed some guys that can play but none of those guys are superstars. So you look at Miami, and they only got two superstars. They got Jimmy Butler and they got Bam Adebayo. But Bam Adebayo sometimes plays center, sometimes plays power forward. And if he is competing against people who are real centers and are real power forwards, he's not going to do so well. And I'm talking about a guy like Nikola Vucevic will go out there and they'll wear him out. I would never take Bam Adebayo over Nikola Vucevic ever in my life. That's why I do not fear the Miami Heat because my center doesn't allow me to fear anybody, and my shooting guard really doesn't allow me to fear anybody. And then my small forward really makes me question what the fuck he's doing sometimes. But at the end of the day, as long as he's going to the free throw line, I'm not afraid of anybody because of my big three: Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic. And that goes for Boston too. So you look at Boston: Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and then now Porzingis. So again, Vooch on Porzingis, DeMar on Tatum, and Zach on Jalen. And even if Zach can't stop Jalen, Zach can play with Jalen. You know what I mean? So whatever Jalen's doing, Zach's doing. Boom. Whatever Jason Tatum's doing, DeMar's going to try to do exactly the same thing. Boom. And then whatever Porzingis thinks he's going to do, I don't think Porzingis shoots the ball better than Vucevic. I don't think he dribbles the ball better than Vucevic. So driving in the paint, like taking over the paint, he's not going to be able to do that. Why? Because Vucevic can match him in size. They're both 7 foot tall. They're both over well over 200-pound guys. They're mammoths, but my mammoth is more talented. And besides, Porzingis has attitude problems anyway, right? So he was the man in New York, and then for whatever reason, he's like, I'm so good, I want to play for a ring. I'm tired of this. But then when he gets traded to Washington, and then like so again, he's like, oh, I'm too good to be on this team. This team can't even make the playoffs. So now he's going to freaking Boston, where he's all like, oh, if we don't win a championship, it's Jason Tatum's fault because that's going to happen. This guy is never going to be happy no matter where he's at or no matter how much money he's playing for. I think he's kind of a problem child in the NBA. And there's several of them. We've talked about it. You've heard me say about the players that I like and about the players that I don't like. It's all been talked about before. But yet again, I don't fear Boston or Miami. Therefore, anybody in the league. Now, do I think I'm the best? I think we just got to play ball and see what happens because here's the thing. I think the Bulls are in a weird position to be one of the strongest teams in the league, period, in the NBA. If a couple of things happen, bad, like Klay Thompson tearing an ACL, that's already happened. That's what I'm saying. That's bad. If Kevin Durant goes out there and breaks his wrist, again, that could be bad. Luka Doncic go out there and roll an ankle or who knows what injuries is what I'm talking about. So, if the wrong guy gets hurt for the wrong team, and no one gets hurt on my team at all, I think I have a dark horse to shock the world. I think legitimately we're trying to shock the world last year. I think the whole Lonzo Ball factor kind of played a toll on us, not knowing how to play and not knowing where to play and not knowing who to play. I think all that got answered this last year after All Star break, barely making playoffs, got beat. Whatever it is, what it is. We didn't make playoffs play in, but play in is playoffs, if you feel me. So that being said, I really went wrong with what I was saying. How you doing? Um, but that, like I said, we are stronger by upgrading. We've definitely upgraded. A lot of people online said, and in these Facebook groups and these YouTube, guys, and they're all like, "Oh, we didn't do enough. Oh, we should have got Christian Wood. Oh, I'd be okay if we got DeMarcus Cousins. Oh, why didn't the Bulls spend enough money? Oh, I can't believe they brought back Vucevic." Listen, if you can't believe that we brought back Vucevic, excuse me, I'm gonna tell you that I don't believe that you even watch basketball at all, and you're probably not a Chicago Bulls fan at all, because like I think he's in the top five best centers in the NBA, top five in the NBA. We've got a serious, legitimate guy, and that's why he makes 60 million in 3 years because he's worth every freaking penny, and we know that, and he knows that. Actually, he's playing cheap for us. Rumor is Orlando offered him 5 years, 108 million, but he didn't want to play in Florida. He wanted to play with DeMar DeRozan inside of Chicago, Illinois, and that's just what the rumor is. So a lot of people do know that he's the real deal, and they offered him the real deal money, and he still said he'd rather play in Chicago with his college teammate DeMar DeRozan. So thank you for that, Vucevic, and thank you in general the organization. If I'll say this, and I know it's very unpopular, but I'm gonna say this anyway. If the Bulls need a change in any situation, it would not be a roster change. It would be a coaching change. If this team doesn't make the playoffs significantly and make a lot of noise and win a lot of games and be in the top three of the East, it would only be blamed to Billy Donovan for reasons of not knowing how to use his personnel. I know this guy is a coach, and I know he's like a college legend. Like maybe he should go back to playing college ball, because anyone that thinks that it's okay to take a shooting guard and make him play power forward, it's not okay with me, and it's not okay in basketball. You can't play that way. You can't have one big and four littles and expect to win in the NBA. But that is exactly what Billy Donovan does, and that's exactly what he wants to do. Like, he enjoys playing that way, and that's a problem with me. So it's not the team; it's the team runner. If there's a change to be needed, that's still likely to be seen. Because I'm not saying small ball is a bad thing. I'm just saying you can't always play small ball. And I'd say that this roster has opportunities to do both and be successful. I kind of can say I see what he sees, but I don't think that he's doing it correctly. I'd be doing it differently. But I would never play small ball with my team, period. I'd play 10 guys. I'd have obviously we have a 15-man roster, but I would have 10 guys actively playing, actively dressing, and then I'd have 5 guys on backup. If I had to dress, I all 15 would dress. If that's the case, they have to come with the team. Blah blah blah. But I'm telling you, um, about I'd say about 12 of them would be in shorts, and I'd have 3 guys just they're hanging out towels. That's just how I would present it. But not only that is, here's the thing: you can't expect to play 15 guys in one game. You can't even really expect to play 12 guys in one game unless you're like way up there. Um, because rhythm is everything in basketball. You take a guy out too late or too soon, it can change the game and change the way you play, and it could hurt you. And that's what he does. He'll wait till Patrick Williams, he'll miss 4 or 5 and then he'll get taken out instead of like after the third shot, you might want to consider, taking him out or at least stop giving him the ball. Quit drawing up things for him to do when he's not capable of doing them. That was a problem. Alex Crusoe being playing in the wrong position was a major problem. Not playing Andre Drummond almost pretty much in half the season he didn't play at all was a problem. Not knowing your personnel is a problem for Billy Donovan and any coach. Like if you don't know what's in front of you, I can understand why you not make a game plan that could win. But with this team, when I look at all these names, first of all, um, I see championship material. Ex-champion, you know, DeMar DeRozan, ex-champion Nikola Vucevic. Uh, I think he's like the sixth best overall rebounder of all time. Andre Drummond, just check that stat out. I mean, he's like the sixth all time, and he's still playing. So, you got to utilize that. Ex-champion Alex Crusoe won a title in L.A. Zach LaVine, two-time dunk champion. Derrick Jones Jr., two-time dunk champion. When I look at the roster, I see a championship team. Um, we just got to get championship play out of this team. Um, and that being said, I think it's going to be now or never for Billy Donovan. Obviously we already committed to our general manager, but we've not necessarily committed to Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan's extension will be this year. So if we're not the top 3 teams in the East this year, I say he needs to get out the door. You know, cut them, cook them, and eat them. I don't know what to say about Billy Donovan running my Chicago Bulls, but I can't say that I do not like it. I don't like it at all. I do not like it. I do not like my coach, Sam I am. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much going to sum it up. I told you guys I was going to talk about the Bulls and the Bears, but we're running short on time. So, if you enjoyed the show, you like what you heard, you enjoyed what you see, always feel free to like and subscribe to the channel. And, of course, if you enjoyed the show, you like what you heard, and enjoyed what you see, always feel free to cash at me, Erick Daniel Coughlin, #Coughlin Prod. You guys have a good night.